Hey, what's going on, everybody? Crypto bounces back on this beautiful Monday. Remember last week I said, hey, it's probably best if we just wait till Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That way we kind of figure out what the stage is going to be set. Usually in the weekend, you don't really get much decisive moves, right? So, now we're here on Monday, and, when you pick your phone up Monday morning, it's either going to be either green or red, right? Chances are it's not flat because we just had that weekly close. So looking at the price of Theta here, and by the way, I just uploaded a Bitcoin video, mainly Bitcoin, but also going over a lot of different ideas in there. Well, not too many, but mainly the macro and the short term. But it all has to do with Theta as well, given the fact that Theta looks, especially on the smaller time frame. If I zoom in here to the 4-hour chart, it looks very similar to what we're seeing with the price of Bitcoin. So, and basically, if you haven't seen that video, basically I was saying here's the price of Theta, right? And before I get into the price, I just wanted to say one thing. If you're in the Theta community, and let's say you don't like XRP, or maybe you do like XRP, because you know me, you know my channel, I'm Theta and XRP. Those are my two sort of powerhouses. Everybody has a select top coins that they like. Mine just so happens to be Theta and XRP. And if you're wondering out there, well, why does this guy like XRP? What is it about it? I thought it was centralized. I thought it was a banker coin. I thought it was this and that. It's got the lawsuit and da 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 da. If you're wondering, why, and I can explain it, but I'd rather not. It would just take too long. But as far as the price chart goes, that's mainly why, is because of what the price chart is, and also things I've been researching on. And to bore you with all that, or say not to bore you with all that, there's two channels that I would recommend. Maybe you care, maybe you don't. But if you do care, here's the channels right here. And even if you don't like XRP, even if you just like crypto, I'd highly recommend subscribing to this channel right here. He's not, his main position is XRP, but his channel is called Digital Perspectives, right? So he goes over education, the news, different political events. He covers a lot of different main headlines in crypto, and he does it very, very well. So not just XRP, but many other things, right? So here's a few of his videos. He's got 155,000 subscribers. Pretty big channel, and he goes over a lot of different things. And that's one channel I would definitely recommend you subscribing to. Even if you don't like XRP, I get it. But he goes over not just, what's been going on, but also he has really good arguments for why he believes the things he does, based off facts and all different types of stuff. I'm not going to get into all of that, but yeah, he was, you've heard of the XRP community or XRP army or whatever. If that's true, then he's one of the top generals, I would suspect. I mean, he's been there since day one from the lawsuit. He puts out 2 videos every single day. I mean, this guy is hardcore committed. His name is Brad Kimes, highly, very respected guy. So anyway, go subscribe to his channel. Maybe listen to a couple of his videos. Maybe you like him, maybe you don't. But anyway, that's my recommendation. The other recommendation would be the digital asset investor. He has almost 200,000 subscribers, basically there, right? 76 million views. This guy is also puts out like 1 or 2 videos every single day. Very interesting guy nonetheless. So yeah, I mean, those are 2 channels here. He's got a cool intro.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3,
But anyways, yeah, those are my two recommendations for YouTube, as far as if you want to have a better understanding of, the corruption around crypto. And that's what that's really, these two channels go inside the corruption at the SEC, the corruption in with Congress, and the regulations, and there's so many different elements to this, different news events. And if you want to have a better understanding of XRP in general, right? I mean, they go over a lot of XRP, like the board, like they'll talk about like the board members, right? They'll talk about what their connections are to certain political whatever. I mean, it just things that just make your eyebrows get raised. Maybe some of them are good, maybe some of them are bad, but the main thing is crypto in general, right? And a lot of this corruption was unveiled because these two channels were hardcore, right? And then when the lawsuit came out, they sort of switched gears from crypto, I would say, in general, to focusing on the SEC lawsuit, trying to figure out, I mean, you talk about the Hinman speech, the ETH uncovering basically revelations about different interesting things that have happened in the last several years regarding all types of stuff. So anyways, those are two channels I would recommend. Go have a listen to a few channels. Maybe you like them, maybe you don't. Just thought I'd point that out. So anyway, that would be my little. And then, by the way, I'm not paid by these guys. This is just me saying, hey, Theta community, if you want to know more about the other side, you can go check out those two channels. I think even if you don't like XRP, I think they're worth checking out. So getting into the price of Theta, we can see, same thing I was talking about in the first video with Bitcoin. Basically been saying this, since we were back up in here, starting, we need a correction, right? So basically, all through in here, and through in here, the correction is upon us, right? So the question is, what type of correction is this? Well, the first idea that I came across, which this is in A, B, C. So basically we had a top, we chop, we broke above the top in the form of a flat, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we have a 5-wave move to the downside. So yeah, basically there's really 3 ideas. And I would say the other idea would be this is a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways breakout, right? So rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways breakout basically ends up being a big range, a bullish consolidation range, right? Like I've been saying for a while now, we need a correction, and we're finally getting that correction. The question is the correction beginning or is it ending? Well, to me, it looks like, we're sort of in the middle of it. We need to figure out what happens in the retracement levels, because the one thing about a correction, and by the way, it's either an A, B, C to the downside, then we go, or it's an A, B, C in reaccumulation, then we go, right? So that's sort of the two ABC ideas. The other ABC idea, obviously, is that first idea, which this is the ABC, and now we're getting ready to go. But back to what I was saying, the thing about a correction is, so here's your initial correction, right? We have 5 waves to the downside. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. Then the easy part is saying, okay, now we're going to go into a retracement. The hard part is saying what happens when we get into the retracement levels. Because if I pull the Fibonacci on this, and I pull it all the way down roughly, I mean, we're barely at the 50. Now, Bitcoin's already at the 786, which is good. We want it to keep going. So the sort of the easy part is to say, we get this correction. And an easy part also is to say we get the retracement. The hard part is saying, what happens here? Do we continue higher or do we go down? That's the tricky part. And it really can go either way, right? Because you have a crash, you have a retrace. What happens in the retracement levels is anybody's guess. Now, that's why you sort of play it day by day, hour by hour, to see if we break the resistance, right? Hold support. And, sometimes we come down, right? And we go into reaccumulation. Then we break the retracement. So essentially, this is a wave, and then a counter wave, and then a continuation wave, rather than this just being a continuation wave, right? Now, if it's going to be real nasty, we have an A, B, and we come down C. We break this low, then we go. So you have 3 different routes. What's one thing they all have in common? Macro, it's bullish, right? So on this 4-hour chart, those are the sort of the 3 ideas. Now, if I had to pick which one it would be, I'm always going to be in the middle lane. I'll say in the middle. I'll say rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, go. Now, if we break to the upside, hey, great, that's perfect. If we break to the downside, then I would say, okay, this is going to be a bigger correction, no big deal, but look at the positive. Look at the positive. We have the bull market support band right here. So we have an A, a B, a C. Let's test the bull market. So that's good. That's actually a really, really good thing. And then we continue higher. And that, my friends, will be a proper correction. And I wouldn't mind that one bit. I think that would be a good thing to see a big correction like that. Why? Because then it could potentially give us a 1, 2. We have another 1, 2, and now let's go. And when we go, this wave is going to be quite powerful. I would imagine this next wave, whenever this correction finishes up, this next wave, I believe it's going to be pretty powerful. So then, once this wave's complete, then we get to basically what I've been saying since all the way down here at 64 cents. Now we're right in the retracement level, right? So then it becomes like, okay, now what happens, right? Now what happens? Well, you could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get a 3-way pullback, continue higher. Some type of flagging out in the middle of this retracement level, then continue higher, right? Unless, of course, it's a lot smaller and it slices right through it. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But for now, one of the things is look at the 200-week moving average. This is something also I forgot to mention. We first of all, just to recap real quick, we have Wyckoff accumulation in here, right? We have Wyckoff accumulation here. We broke above the resistance. We came back down and we back tested the bull market support band. Then we sliced right through all of this range. So this massive range we've been in, we sliced right through it. Now, a lot of coins are still struggling to get through that range, right? Or at or around that range. Theta was one of those coins that just sliced right through it because it's very strong. But what's interesting is when we broke above it, look where it went. We crushed right through the 200-week moving average. So this blue line right here, the 200-week, we broke above it, we back tested it, right? And you could see all the wicks were wicking off of it. And now we're holding the 200-week as support. So I would say, well, what's the goal for Theta? The goal would be to hold above the 200-week moving average, really. But then also really, really to hold above this. Because when we were back over here, you can go back and watch my videos back in January. And when we were down here, I mean, that was very bullish, right? You know, we had an A, B, C, and the C wave back tested the bull market support band. And look how many days we were down here, right? In the vicinity of the bull market support band, probably about a month. So we were down here testing for about a month. And I said, this is very good. We developed a base, right? This base above the bull market support band. That's the reason what led to this big explosion, right? So what happens is this base can only do so much before this wave, this momentum stalls out. So the question is this wave complete, or is this a pullback and another continuation? I would think it's a continuation. So that would be a 1, 2, all of this is 3, 4, and now we're getting 5, right? So we need one more wave to the upside. Now, going back to the 4-hour chart, how is that going to look, right? How is it going to look? Is it going to be, like I said, if I'm expecting another wave to the upside, right, we need to break this top. The question is, how do we break the top? Well, it goes back to the 3 ideas, A, B, C, and then we continue breaking the top. Or this is an A, B, C, then we break the top, right? Or this is a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, then we break the top. Either way, regardless of what route it takes, honestly, I think we're going to hold this low. I don't think we're going to break below $2.40. If we do, then that's okay, because we have the bull market support band. And that would actually be a good thing, right? Because we would get a bigger correction. So, but I mean, if we're sitting at $3. So if we come all the way down to $2, imagine what people who hold theta, they're going to feel like, oh man, they're going to feel defeated. They're going to feel bad. They're going to feel like, oh man. But I'm letting you know that it's okay. Why? Because it's really, if it happens, it would really be normal, right? We would have an A, a B, and a C, right? Now, if that's the case, I would expect, this still to be somewhat of a fourth wave, where we have 1, 2, all of this is 3, we get 4, then we get 5. Now you could count it and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? But either way, I think this is some type of fourth wave correction. So that'll pretty much do it for the price of theta. 4 days ago, Theta network to update edge node. Okay, so yeah, that'll be it for theta. And then here's a cool part right here. Now we'll talk about the patterns here. You can kind of see, let me draw it here. You can kind of see a shoulder, a head, and now a shoulder, just like how Bitcoin was forming. So we possibly have some type of inverse head and shoulders pattern here, right? So it's subjective how you do the neckline. It's not too perfect. Let me see if I do it I'll do it like that. And so let's see what the measured move would be. If I put it to here, and then I'll put it right up here. So the measured move of this potential inverse head and shoulders gets us to about $3.70. So that's actually pretty good. So let me take that off the screen, and we'll say this right here. Let me put this line back, and I'll draw all the way down here, right about there. And then I'll put this here, right? So this range in here, something like that, would be sort of the back test area, right? So here's your neckline right here, right? Or your downward resistance line. You broke above the downward resistance line. Now we can come down, maybe, and we back test it. So here's our little range right here. Here's the downward resistance line. We come up, we can come all the way back down, and we can back test the top of the downward resistance line or somewhere in this range in here. Then continue higher. And that, my friends, would be a 1, 2, 1, 2. That would be very bullish. So we'll see. But yeah, so I mean, so far, what we really want to see is 5 waves. And so far, we only have 3. So we have 1, 2, 3. But what we want to see really is either a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then go, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then the chances of breaking this greatly increases, right? In the shorter term. But if we only get 3 and then we start coming back down, then it tells me we probably have to do more ranging in here, right? Like rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulate, some type of reaccumulation before breaking out. Either way, it's bullish. So there's no point in trying to figure out and guess exactly which way it's going to go, even though it's fun and it's educational, but it's mostly, entertainment, right? This is just my opinion of how I'm interpreting the data. So, but yeah, I would say it's bullish regardless of how you look at it. And the reason how you know that is because this is impulsing and this is correcting, but this is also correcting. So we can get 3, 3, and we can come down for 3 and then go. So 1, 2, 3. We need some type of 3-wave shape, or unless this was the 3-wave shape. So boom, 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 go, or boom, 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 go. Either way, like I said, it's bullish. Worst case scenario, we break down here and an A, B, C, then we go. So I go much more in detail about that in my previous Bitcoin video that I uploaded. So yeah. So anyways, let me zoom out to the 4-day chart. And let's talk about something else. So when you look at the range we've been in, we also developed this inverse head and shoulders, right? So the measured move of that inverse head and shoulders actually was already hit. So if I take that there and I put this up here, not perfect, but it's actually pretty close, right? So, that, let's say that was the 4-hour chart where we talked about. Now let's zoom out, right? And we'll talk about something else. So the inverse head and shoulders, we did meet the measured move. And we are quite far away from the bull market support band and from this area here. So here was our big resistance line. We broke out. There's always a chance that we can come all the way back down and back test the top of the breakout level, then continue higher. There's always that chance. And that would be a massive 1, 2, 1, 2. And if that happens, that would be super, super, super bullish. It would be freaking painful in the beginning, right? But it would be ultimately very bullish. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but there's always that possibility that could happen. But anyways, I think more or less that this is a 3rd wave. We're in the middle of 4. We get 5. So it'd be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get up to the 5th wave, right? And then we start to, draw out a little bit, maybe bull flag out, then continue higher. That would be like my best. If I had to pick which way it would be as far as a time perspective would go, it would be something like that. So that would allow us to, get through the retracement levels, and, continue marching up through basically the retracement levels. So, right between these two black lines is really where our target is for the retracement levels. So it'll be interesting to figure out, I think, like I said right now, the correction we're in now, to me, looks bullish. And either we have an ABC or a flat or whatever, those three ideas. We break out and we get in between these two lines. Maybe we get to the top line, maybe we get to the middle, whatever the case may be, we get in here, right? Then the question becomes, what happens there? Do we come back down or do we break out? And that really answer is going to lie within Bitcoin, I would imagine. But yeah, so let me look how far we've gone from October back over here, back at 64 cents, and stating publicly, hey, this is our target. And we're getting closer and closer and closer. So we have a pit stop in the road. The pit stop can be a little bigger than we think, but so far it's looking pretty bullish. We're holding above the 200 week. That's really good to see. And let's see what else we can say. The weekly chart is still above. Yeah, we wicked off there. But yeah, the daily looks very bullish too, because look at this. If I put this line here, I mean, we broke out. This is a breakout here. We had this sort of descending, broadening wedge pattern, right? And now we broke above it. So it gets people bullish, right? But remember, we still have to get through the retracement levels. So what are some of those prices? Well, what I would really like to see is for Theta to close above $3.27 to $3.50. So if we can close above that range, that would be perfect for continuation. So that's what we really want to see occur. So, getting above that will make a big statement. Now, again, like I said, we can come up here, then come back down, then break it. Or we can come up here, come back down a little bit, make a low, make a higher low, right? Make a higher low, reaccumulate, then continue. Or we just continue on. So we'll have to figure out that as it occurs, and I'll be sure to update as we get more information. But yeah, as of now, I mean, Theta and basically all of crypto is looking very bullish. So it's a good thing to see. So anyways, on the 4-hour chart, we do have a 9 sell. So just be a little cautious there. Also with Bitcoin as well. So let's see how the rest of the day unfolds. So yeah, that's about it. I had another Theta video out, I think not yesterday, but the day before, and pretty much going over all the information. So let's go to Theta Fuel, shall we? So here's the price of Theta Fuel. Same thing with Theta, right? We only have we have a 3-wave shape. So, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a 5-wave move to the downside with a 3-wave pullback. So that usually means we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? So we have 5 down, 3 up, 5 down. That's usually what happens. Now, what I would like to see is if this continues higher. See, we don't know if the B wave is done with Theta or whatever. And the reason I don't like it too much is because Bitcoin had a pretty big, if you look at Bitcoin here for a minute, it's also on a 9, right? But look where it landed. It landed right in the retracement levels, right? Right at the 786. So that's pretty bullish. All it needs is one more retracement level to go. So what I would expect, and that's why I really recommend watching the Bitcoin video, is for me, I would like to see if Bitcoin's going to correct here, come back down and back test the top of 68K. So if we come down and retest 68K, so we have a 1, 2, 1, and we come down and we retest it and we hold above it, and we sort of go into a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. We go sideways in here for a little while. So we have a base, and then we develop another base on top of that base. So whatever happens in here will definitely determine what happens with Theta Fuel, and the rest of the alts. But I think it can turn into something bullish, right? So look at the 9. We had a 9 on Bitcoin. And look at that big red candle following it. If I go to the 10-minute chart, we just had a big dump here. And I talked about that as well on the last video, saying, look, you could see bearish divergence. Bitcoin's going up, RSI is going down. So eventually it's going to come down. And I should have took that trade too. I was talking about it on the video. I missed it. Pretty nice trade there. So basically with the price of Bitcoin, and the same applies with Theta, we can come all the way down, even down to between 67, 68, and back test the top of this. So maybe we come down like this, 3-wave shape, right? And then continue higher. So I would look for a correction, at least for maybe the next day or half a day or so. Maybe sooner. So, or at least until tonight. Yeah, so that would be for the short term. So going back to Theta Fuel, so if that's the case for Bitcoin, let's look at it objectively through the eyes of Theta Fuel. So if that were to occur with Bitcoin, then I would expect the price to come down, probably somewhere right about there. So you could sort of see a little shoulder here, shoulder, head, shoulder, right? We break out, maybe we come down, we back test this area here, and then we continue higher. So 1, 2, 1, 2. That would be great. If not, then it would be a B wave. So it would be A, B, C. So when we get down here, the question is, do we come up and we retrace it, then continue down? Or do we get through the retracement level and continue higher? That'll be interesting to see. Or I would expect, my main idea really is rise, crash, retrace. We go down for reaccumulation, and we just stay in here for a little while. We stay in this range for a little while. We work it out, and then eventually make a decision and break out. Right? That would be my main idea. The second idea would be an A, B, and a C. Then we go. So either way, it's bullish. It's just depending on the timing of it. You know what I mean? So we'll see how all of that works in regards to time. But if we do get that big 3-wave correction, there's always a silver lining. Look at the bright side. We got to meet up with the bull market support band. But then also, here's the best part. This is the grand finale right here. If that occurs, either which way, whatever which way happens, look at this. So let's go to the 4-day chart. This is really what I wanted to show you. Let me take all that off. This is really what I wanted to show you right here. So, as you know, Theta Fuel broke above its range. It broke above a major Wyckoff accumulation range. So boom, boom, boom. All of this, like an M shape, We range down in here. We broke above the range. Back test the bull market support band. Then bam, we had this big reaction. That reaction broke above these two resistance points, which is very, very important. So here's the best part. Look at this. We are currently back testing the top of those two resistance points. I mean, you can't get any more bullish than that, my guys. I mean, look at that. Look at that. Guys, I mean, look at that. And girls, right? So, we have a breakout and a back test. So what we really want to see is it hold above this back test zone. That would be an amazing thing. But that's not even the best part. Here's the best part. So bringing up this example again, where are we at in this example, right? We had 1, 2, 3, all the way down, broke the low. 1, 2, 3, all the way down, broke the low. Came back up, made a lower high, came all the way down in this cup, then we broke the top. So that's where we are. So if you look at that, you could see when we break the top, what happens? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have bullish consolidation up here. Then we go to the moon, right? So if that example were to continue playing out, we can see boom, 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 something like that. The same thing that happened right here. So everything else is basically pinpoint nailing it. And this is no different. This is the last phase until that big breakout. So to me, we're just barely getting started, guys. And I think it's gonna surprise a lot of people. People say, oh, it's, Bitcoin's gonna go into a much, scarier time, and I don't know about that. And the reason why is the alts look so bullish, right? So now we know the Wyckoff accumulation pattern, right? We got up here. Now we're just dancing around above the two resistance, right? So we got to work out this area. And I talked about that with Theta, with Bitcoin, how that can look. Is it going to be an ABC? Is it going to be the flat? Is it going to be, there's a couple different ways. But regardless of which way it is, it all leads to a bullish continuation, right? So let me take all that off the screen. Another reason why is because if you look at the chart here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, an extended fifth, right? We have this major range, right? We broke above the range, and we're barely continuing, right? We're barely getting out of that range. So if Bitcoin was over with, why would it just barely come out only to then come back down? It doesn't make sense. Especially because, you could see it's currently back testing it, right? So we're in a very interesting spot. So if I put this line here, and then I'll put this one down here, and you could see we're above both lines. Now what we really want is, once this thing gets worked out, we want to break above the 200 week like Theta did, right? And stay above it. So yeah, that'll be it for the price of Theta Fuel. So, in summary, bullish. Just need to wait for this correction to end. Now it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a 1, this is a 2, right? So this could be a 1, 2 as well of the third wave. So then we get 3, 4, and 5. So this whole thing becomes wave 3. So 1, 2, all of that's 3. All of that's 3. Then we get 4. Then we get 5. And that would, we'll see how high it gets, right? What would be really, really nice to see is for the third wave to get back to the top of this. If we can get the third wave to the top of this, then that means when we get the fifth wave, it'll crush the all-time high. So, and I talked about that also in my previous Bitcoin video, talking about definitely recommend, especially if you're a Theta holder, because it goes into detail on that stuff. So that would be this video here. So one of the things mentioned, right, was 1, 2, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That will be wave 1 of 3, right? Then we get 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this 1, 2, all of that's 3. My hope is if the third wave gets up here, then we get that fourth wave. Now the fourth wave can turn into reaccumulation. It could turn into different things. But essentially we flag out for wave 4, then we get wave 5, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And hopefully that fifth wave can get us really, really high. So a good target for Theta Fuel would be $1.20 to $1.30, up to $1.90, and then swinging for the fence about $3. So yeah, that $3.06 mark. So we're only at 8 cents here. So if we put this here, we go all the way up to here. That's about almost a 3,500% move if we get a full 4.236 extension from where we are now, right? But a lot of people have been holding Theta Fuel longer than that, going back down over here, and I'll put it right at the bull market support band. So 4.236 from there, that's over 7,000% return on Theta Fuel. So let me do that one more time. So I remember in my videos right in here on the bull market support band, right when it was at about 4 cents. So let's say, somebody got in there, and I know a lot of people did, at 4 cents. So I'll take a measurement. Let me do it from here, price range. And I'll take it from here. And I'm going to go all the way up to $3. It's going to be very hard to do. But if we hit that $3 mark, that's 7,000%. So a full 4.236 extension, and I think it's definitely possible, especially for a wave 3, because all we've had is a wave 1, a wave 2, and now we're in that third wave, and that third wave is going to be the biggest, in my opinion, one of the biggest waves, right? So it's pretty likely that we do. I mean, if Bitcoin did it, Ethereum did it, Total 3 did it, why not Theta Fuel? Especially because it's a smaller cap, it would be easier to move the price. It takes less liquidity, right? But let's say it didn't do that, and we came from here and we hit the 2618 around $1.89. That's still about 4,500%. That's not bad at all. So, anyways, people say Theta Fuel has much more potential than Theta as far as percentage terms, and I tend to agree with that, especially because it's a smaller cap. It's like throwing a rock in the ocean versus throwing it in a tiny pool. You're going to get more visible waves, right? It takes less liquidity to move the market higher. And then also, it's lower. Theta is actually right here. Theta Fuel's down here. So there's some divergence at the moment, right? And remember, Theta Fuel hasn't really broken away from its range yet because it's still at that last point of the Wyckoff accumulation before that big pump to the upside. So if I had $100, would I buy Theta or Theta Fuel today? I would probably buy Theta Fuel. I mean, if I could choose, I would probably, if I had $100, I would probably put $85 in Theta Fuel and then $15 in Theta, right? Today, right? But on the macro sense, you sort of want to have strength, and without Theta, you have no Theta Fuel. So you really want the strength, and Theta is that powerhouse, is the strength, right? But at the end of the day, what's good for Theta is good for Theta Fuel, right? So guys, I think we're at the beginning of this. Now, obviously, it depends on what happens. We're in election year, stock market all-time high, Bitcoin getting there. So many different things could happen. But just purely looking at the chart, I mean, we broke out. And I would expect us to get up here at some point this year. And I think it's going to be very exciting. And it really depends on when this correction ends, but I would expect it to end. I would expect us to get up here between April and May. So April, May, I would expect here. And then summer, you're probably going to have some, we get up here, we flag out all summer long. And then once we get into the winter, we continue higher. And that would probably maybe be the end. Maybe from winter 2024 to spring 2025 would probably be the end of the bull market. So get ready. We got, 1 year to go. From now, we have another year of potential upside. Look how long we were in this base for Theta Fuel. We were in this base quite some time. So it's a very strong base. And if we hold this base as support, then it's just like double confirmation of higher prices, especially because you have Bitcoin at an all-time high, right? I mean, you have it over 70K today. So, let it take some breathing room. Maybe it might take a few more weeks. Whatever the case is, it's looking bright for the future. And I was going to get into more, oscillators. Look at the EMA ribbon. This is very bullish. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, come on. Look, this is the weekly EMA ribbon. Look, they all just crossed over. So they're all bearish, 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 right? We broke above it, and now look at this. They're all crossing back above each other. And all of that occurred right here, right at this cross right in here, right? And they're still starting to, this was the pivot right in here. And that occurred back in February. And that was foreseen back in October. So, anyways, if you made it this far in the video, I would highly appreciate a like, and also hit that comment, or hit the subscribe button. I'd always appreciate that. When you've been talking, the last video was like an hour, I think. And now this video is close to an hour. So when you talk straight for like 2 hours, your brain gets a little fuzzy. But anyway, yeah, the EMA ribbon is very bullish, and count that with the big range, count that with Wyckoff accumulation, count that with Bitcoin at an all-time high, count that at the beginning of a third wave, count that at still we're not at the retracement levels. And then count that with the oscillators. Like, let's look at a different oscillator. I mean, look at the Ichimoku cloud. We completely just crushed above that red cloud, right? So the Ichimoku cloud is basically like you have a red cloud and then it flips to a green cloud. So it's a little challenging to read this particular indicator, but essentially you can see the price breaking above the cloud, and then you can see right here we crossed green, which is good, right? Which is good. So I guess the grand finale of this whole theta thing would be this right here. Look at where we currently are. We are so incredibly close. We haven't even flipped the stars yet, guys. This is called the lucid star. So I'm going to go back over here. So you can see right here, the price is going down, right? Which means the stars are above it. If the stars are above the price, that's bearish. If the stars are below the price, that's bullish. So look what happened. We broke, this candle broke the star. It flipped it. So now the stars, I call them, it's called SAR, but I call them stars. The stars are below now. And now look what the result was. A major bull run, right? So look at where we are now. We're almost to the point of it happening right here. So look what happened here. We got all of that. So if I just put, a bars pattern to, the point where we broke above, something like that, right? Not perfect, but you get what I'm saying. But yeah, I think, look at this. We're almost there. Now let me zoom up a little bit. Look at, we almost touched it. Now if we would have gotten, let's see how far away we were. We were about 2.5% away from flipping the monthly star. That is so crazy. So I would suspect, and then here's the thing, we only have 6 days left in the month. So we have one more week to go, essentially, for the month to end. So the grand finale is this. Let's see if Theta can flip the monthly star. If not this month, then next month. But we're currently, we're pretty far away. We're 26% away, 25%. So it's a big ask. So can Theta Fuel go up 25% in the next 3 months? In the next 6 days? 25% in the next 6 days. That's a big ask. Maybe it can. But if it did, then it would flip the star, right? So then you could see the stars on the bottom. Then now the stars will be on the bottom, right? And then the price goes up. The stars are on the bottom supporting the price. So yeah, that's a big deal. So if I go, for example, to the 2-week chart, I'm sure it already flipped it. Yeah, it already flipped it. I like to look at the monthly chart because that's more the macro. But you could see we're above it, we're below it, we're above it, we're below it, right? So very, very interesting. Now, the good thing is Theta, the price of Theta already broke above the lucid SAR. Look at this. That's pretty powerful right there. We did it very powerfully. And it was, all the stars were going perfectly down, and then bam, we flipped it perfectly. So now we're right above. Okay, and then one more thing I wanted to show, and this is part of the other grand finale, right? As you would say, and people are asking, is it over with? Is it over? Well, I'm making the case that it's not over. And look at this. Let me take, let me get rid of, so we're looking at the monthly chart of Theta Fuel. And look at the MACD. This is another very, very bullish thing. Let me actually just make it big so we can see it. Okay, there we go. So here's the MACD. Look at this. We flipped green, right? We've been green for a while, right? We accelerated selling pressure. Then it started to dwindle, right? Then we got above the 0 line, and now bam, we flipped green. But then also we flipped above the 2 moving averages. So this thing is projecting to continue higher, and also for the moving averages to continue up. So it looks like it's barely just beginning. It's barely just beginning. That's what it looks like to me. So it looks very good, right? And then you line that up with the price, it also looks like it's just beginning, right? So in other words, get your moon boots on, because this thing has some serious potential in the macro. It doesn't mean overnight, next week, next month, but over time. This is the monthly chart, right? So it takes time, but the monthly MACD looks very good. Now, if you look at the 2-week MACD, you can see, it flipped along, quite a while ago. But it's, you could see the histograms are still positive, right? We're pretty much green. What we want to see is flat and then eventual explosion in histograms, right? And we want to see these lines, these moving average lines, to continue rising higher and higher. So it shall be interesting to see how this year unfolds. So not financial advice, but yeah, that's what we have here. And yeah, things are looking very good. And then also, it's very, very simple, but look, we broke above the downward resistance line. We had a base above it, and then we had a markup, which then broke above the resistance of here. So we're above both lines. So, like I said in the beginning of the video on the short-term analysis, we have to wait until that gets all worked out. So we'll see how that happens. But anyways, that'll be it for this video. I will trying to get a rapid fire video out, a couple of different altcoins. I wanted to talk about an update with QNT and XRP, a few others, and probably won't do that today. I'll see. Like I said, when you talk for 2 hours straight, your brain gets like, a little fuzzy, and you're not as sharp as you were, right? So anyway, that'll do it for this video. If you guys would be so awesome, you can drop a like and a comment. That would be amazing. And if you haven't subscribed, you can do so already. And also check out the Bitcoin video I did. And as always, if you want to leave a tip, I have a YouTube tip jar if you wanted to support my work. And yeah, anything's always appreciative. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.